Hello, I'm John and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you a slightly different project. I've made myself a piece of furniture. So this is a small hi-fi cabinet to take my record player, my amplifier, my CD player. There's a space down here if I want to put another unit, and a little bit of space for some albums as well. So this video is all about how I made this. I'm using 18mm oak-faced ply and it's faced on both sides. I've designed it using SketchUp. Now ignore the legs and the little shelf underneath. I actually decided I wasn't going to use those. I didn't particularly like them. This is my oak-faced ply. It's very nice quality. The scale drawing shows the parts I need as well as those parts for a TV unit, but I've grayed those out and that's for another video. Rather than cut into a second sheet of ply, I decided to make the centre partition by joining two pieces together. All the pieces I've used on this cabinet are 400mm deep, front to back. I started with my track saw just trimming the edge of the first sheet of plywood, making sure that I've got a nice clean edge. And then I've ripped a piece that's 400mm across. Now I can go about cutting all the pieces to length. I did just check that one was square, which of course it was. So in order to save some plywood, save me cutting into another new sheet, I'm using two smaller offcuts, which I'm going to join together down the edge here. And what I'm going to do is to use my Domino mortising machine for this. So I'll just mark these. I'm going to put one down there. I can just see those pencil lines. I don't want them too strong. All the joints are made with 4 dominoes, but 3 would have been more than sufficient. Right, let's try and do a dry fit of this. That's going to be fine. Once that's clamped up tight, although you can see a joint in it, that's actually going to be within the hi-fi cabinet, and it's standing up that way, so the joint is roughly halfway up the cabinet, I suppose. But I don't think you're going to see that at all. So let's get on and glue these dominoes in. I'll be a little bit careful that I don't get glue on the face. Look at that, beautiful. I'm just going to wipe that to get that excess off. Right, I can let that dry. I'm using real oak as edge banding on the front edges. A couple of lengths of softwood makes a depth stop. Well, that was very successful. I've managed to cut 14 thin strips, and as you can see, they're pretty tiny. Now it's going to be interesting to see what size they are. I know they're slightly thicker this end, all of them. 4.75. And down here, 4.9. So, what's that, 0.15 of a millimetre difference? It's very little, isn't it? Well, I've set up the two pieces of ply that I glued together earlier. So I think I'm going to have a go at edge banding it with a piece of oak that I've just cut. I don't think it matters which side is which, they're both incredibly smooth. Now all I've got to do is to put some tape on it. Start up this end, pull it down tight. Just have to make sure you can feel the edge of the board with your finger as you stick the tape down. Right, I'm just going to take some of the excess glue off with a damp cloth. Good, that's that. We can let that dry. It doesn't take long to glue all the edge banding. Now there's a potential problem in trimming the edge of this veneer that I've stuck on here. If you use a router directly on the top here, you're likely to find it's going to tip very slightly. Let's just push the router bit down. Now, you can imagine trying to hold that flat on here is not going to be too easy. And of course, when you get to the end, what's going to happen? It's going to want to do that. At this end, you've got a similar problem as well. What we need is some support either side. So what I have come up with, quite simply, are some scrap pieces of ply, and this happens to be MDF. And they're staggered like this, so that when it's clamped on here, there's a gap here that the cutter will run down. And then I've got another one which will go on this side, and they'll get clamped on there together. So the cutting bit will run down the gap, and they're longer than the workpiece, so I've still got support either end for the router itself. Now once you've got your clamps tightened and you've checked it again with a square, you can see there's a very slight gap under the middle here, and that's absolutely fine. In fact, that's probably best that way, because with this little gap here, you know that the base of the router is only going to sit on these two edges. It's not going to touch this, so it's not going to be able to rock. This gives a really smooth, clean edge. I'm just laying out the panels and making sure that I've put the miters on the correct pieces. That's either end of the top panel and the top of both sides. I'm going to be making domino joints in this 45-degree angle, and this was a test piece I did the other day. Now, one of the issues with this is that the domino needs to be quite close to this edge. If it's right down the bottom here where it's very narrow, there'll be no material for the domino to glue into. In fact, the chances are the slot will go right the way through and come out of the face side. So I've had to adapt the base plate of my domino machine by putting on a piece of hardboard, and that has the effect of shifting the slot up in this direction. Because this machine is really meant for much larger domino joints, I'm also having to adapt it very slightly with a little block of wood on here. And what this does, it limits the amount of travel that the actual cutter makes. So the depth of the slot made by the cutter is determined by this distance in here. So if I push the two together, that's as far as the cutter will slide, which is about 12 millimeters. Any more than that again, and the cutter will probably go straight through this material and come out of the front. I had a practice with this piece. It seemed to work well, so I'm fairly happy that when I come to do the real cuts, that I shall have a reasonable measure of success. Let's see. If you pop the pin out on the base of the machine and offer it up to the workpiece, you don't have to measure the position of the dominoes on the ends. Again, 3 dominoes would have been sufficient. They do provide a really neat and strong joint. Well, that's a little bit of a dry fit and it's looking fairly promising. I've got the base here in place just to help me keep things square. So I'm going to put some iron-on edging on the very bottoms of the sides down here. Iron-on edging is remarkably easy to do. It'll have adhesive on the underside of it. It's not sticky. At least it's not sticky until you heat it up, and that's where your iron comes in. Use the iron with a moderate heat and run it along the top very gently. When you're doing this, a couple of things you want to be careful not to do is to round over the edges, either with your hand or with a cloth or with a block like this. You don't want to be doing that because you'll break the veneer. Likewise at the end, you don't want to go down at one end or the other because you'll snap the veneer off. Just keep the iron nice and flat. Make sure there's a bit of overlay both sides, I can feel that. Should you find you've not got this in quite the right place, you can heat it and slide it across. Trim the excess with a sharp knife. You can do what I'm going to do and use a craft knife. You do obviously need to be careful that you don't damage the front surface, but just take the knife ever so gently along the edge. I'm mindful of which direction the grain is. Now you can buy trimming tools which have a blade in them. Right, I think I'm going to come at that from the other direction because the grain is wanting to take the knife blade in this way towards me, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this off in this direction. That's better. Now I have my trusty little tiny block plane, and I'm just going to very, very gently run the plane along that edge. I quite like doing this in this orientation, as it were, that I'm looking actually down over the top of the joint. And I've got the plane slightly open to the surface. I'll exaggerate, it's a little bit like that, so that I don't catch this front face with the corner of the blade itself. And I'm just using my fingers on the right hand side here just to help me hold that blade at an angle. Now I've got some fairly worn glass paper on a block, so I'm going to very, very gently just take a little tiny bit off this corner. Oh, I think we can call that done. I'm just checking that the shelves are the same length. The centre partition goes here. That is a very nice tight fit. Again, I haven't put the oak edging on the back of it. More domino slots, this time for the shelves. These are the slots that hold the shelves. You can see that I've lined up the little engraving mark on both sides of the domino machine with a pencil line. What I really should have done was to clamp a straight edge onto my sides, and then I could have just pushed the domino machine up against it. But I didn't think about that, which was a bit silly of me. It worked out fine. I got away with it. Time to glue the edge banding to the front of both shelves and the centre panel. These are the domino slots for fixing the base to the sides. It's easy to mess up and drill the slots in the wrong place, so I like to mark them like this. And like this. That's the end of part 1. If you'd like to see part 2, just click up here on this window and you'll see how I've stained it, made the legs and assembled everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I would really appreciate it if you click the like button, and how about subscribing. See you in part 2.